Okay, so we're going to talk Sarasota County Parks, Recreation, and Natural Resources. This is one of the 5 campaigns we have for Sarasota County. We handle the calls again after hours and on holidays, so nights and weekends and federal holidays. Parks and Recreation is one that we get a lot of general questions for. So when somebody is calling about Parks and Rec, they may be asking you a question about a park or about an event that's happening at a park. You can access additional information concerning those things under the manual connectors. If you click manual connector, you will see one that is a parks event guide. This is just an up-to-date PDF that we keep current. This one is from December 2017 to June 2018, and this will list different events that are happening at parks. There's also a little key here that talks about the symbols that are used throughout the book concerning the parks. You can also see a map of where there are natural areas and parks within Sarasota. They have a lot of parks. So just a quick key about at-a-glance activities. You've got this here. And as you scroll through the event guide, you can see different events that are happening and the parks that they're happening at. So if somebody has questions about Bee Ridge Park, you can always come here and look up what they have going on. Another resource along the same lines is under the other manual connector. There's one that says Sarasota PRNR Park List. If you click that one, it's going to divert you to the web page for Sarasota County, which is just scgov.net. And it's going to take you to the page for where the parks are. Within this, you can search and find parks. You can search by amenity, or you can just scroll through and look at the parks on here. If you look at this, it's going to show you what sort of things the parks have, and then it's going to have the address, things like that. If you click on it, there will be more pictures of the parks. And so if we go into this one, you'll just see some additional images of the park. Okay. So we typically try to answer those questions for callers based upon the information that we're provided from Sarasota. There are sometimes, however, urgent issues that could happen at a park. The urgent issues could actually be something we would want to divert to Parks and Rec, or it could be something that needs to be bounced back to facilities. If you get one for facilities, then you're going to transfer the call to this particular facilities number. Again, this is us, only transferred to billing purposes. Do not give this number to a caller. This is our inside line, okay? Reasons you would transfer a Parks and Rec call to facilities would be something that is happening that's facilities related in a park, like the plumbing in the restrooms. So if there's a broken toilet, a clogged up toilet, or what have you, that's going to go to facilities. Ordinary lighting issues, so not athletic lighting, but does include tennis courts. We're talking about lights along the walking trail, maybe the lights in the parking lot, those types of things. Vandalism, that typically would be if it includes like a heavy duty vandalism or like a biohazard type vandalism. If somebody dumps trash out, Parks and Rec can handle that. If it's something a little bit more in depth or damaging, that's going to be facilities. If there are alarms going off, again, facilities, there is a separate person for alarms, so refer to the script for that. So urgent issues that may happen in a Parks and Rec, that we would be doing a worksheet and dispositioning it correctly would be a homeless person in the park. That doesn't necessarily mean that there is just a homeless person in the park. That is not an urgent, emergent issue. A homeless person in a park that's causing a disruption. Maybe they are threatening people, or that could really be anyone in a park. Doesn't necessarily have to be a homeless person. Loud or disruptive people in a park, so teenagers gathering in a park drinking after hours. That is a reason to get Parks and Rec involved, or you could have them call law enforcement if they really feel that it's a dangerous situation. An aggressive animal in a park, they do have alligators. This is Florida. So if somebody sees a gator in a park, we definitely want to let Parks and Rec know. We don't want the animal or a person to be hurt, so they can get the proper people out there to take care of the situation. And then a lost person in the park. So obviously, if this is, a lost person, we want to let Parks and Rec know, but they probably also should contact law enforcement, especially considering the person in the park. If it's a very, very large facility, that could be a certain hazard to people. So non-urgent, these are just worksheets and dispositioning to non-urgent. So I lost something in the park, or the beach. So I left my sunglasses on the beach. They're prescription. I left them on my blanket. I forgot it all. Or I found an item in the park. I found somebody's cell phone sitting on the picnic table at such and such park. Um, if maybe I rented a shelter and I got there and it wasn't cleaned, but I was able to use the shelter, I just had to clean it up. We want to let Parks and Rec know it's a non-emergent issue. However, if we're talking a shelter and they get there to use the shelter and they have it rented and somebody's there and they can't get them to leave the shelter to honor the rental, that would be more of an urgent issue. Okay, especially when people do a lot of things like with weddings. If somebody is renting a shelter to have an outdoor wedding at a beach or something, and they get there and somebody's using the shelter and they don't have it rented and they won't leave, we want to let Parks and Rec know. They can send a park officer over. All right. So down here you will see this is the phone number for Parks and Rec on call. This is the number we'll call for an urgent issue. We will send the worksheet and then we will wait about 10 minutes and then we will call and make sure they received it. If you receive no answer from the on-call after 2 calls, you're going to start contacting the managers. Now, the on-call cell phone is passed around to whomever's on call that week, so the appropriate person will have it. There's not particularly an on-call calendar. All right, you're just going to call this number to speak to the on-call. If after 2 rings or 2 attempts, not rings, 2 attempts at reaching them, you don't, then you're going to contact a manager. I'm going to show you the worksheet. So the worksheet is just a typical worksheet. It includes representative name, date, time, caller's name, what city is the caller calling from, and their telephone number where they can be reached, and then the address. So I don't necessarily know that this is super important because you can put down here to the name of the park and you can put the address there. But if they want to separate it for you, you can go ahead and put the address here. Okay, this question pertained to Hurricane Irma. This is no longer a valid question. Email address, if they're wanting to get, back in touch about something that was non-urgent, they may provide an email address. It's not a super common thing though. What park are they referring to? So this would be really, really important. We need to know what park is having this situation. Are they having access problems? Are they locked in or out? Because that would be something we want to let parks know about soon. And are they reporting malfunctioning equipment? So maybe they get there and, something is broken. Some of the playground equipment is broken. That would be a Parks and Rec thing. However, if it is malfunctioning equipment relating to plumbing in a public restroom, remember we should have transferred that call to facilities. What area of the park? So if they are calling about maybe playground equipment, you're going to want to indicate playground. If they're calling about a tennis court, or pickleball or something like that where there's something damaged, you're going to want to indicate exactly where this is at. Any additional notes, anything else that they provide to you, you're going to want to put that here. And do they want called back? Some people are just calling as Good Samaritans to report a problem. Some people are, if they've got a rental or something like that, they want to be called back about that. So just ask the caller if they'd like to be called back or not. You would then click Finish on the worksheet. And then whether you disposition urgent or non-urgent, it's going to be dependent upon the circumstances. So we talked about what's urgent. That's also in the script. That also specifies it is not facilities. Urgent facilities are not submitted for Parks and Rec. Non-urgent, that basically means on the next business day, somebody will be reaching out to them. We had some dispos that kind of pertained to Hurricane Irma. So these top 4 are for that. You may get a water main break question. Hey, is there a water main break on Jacaranda? If that comes in on this line, it's not completely surprising. Just answer the question. If you know about it, answer it and just disposition it that way. If they just have a general question and you provide info to them, I would utilize this one. You'll notice there is a non-English dispo. That should not really be an issue because we do utilize Language Link for Sarasota. So if you see Language Link as a manual connector and you have a non-English speaking person, please use this connector and follow the instructions on how to obtain a translation service representative, okay? We're required to use that contractually, so let's make sure that we do. The other thing is we want to make sure that we are making sure we follow up on this. If you send an urgent over, you need to make sure that you follow up with Parks on Call. If you have a question on if something is urgent or not, please talk to a supervisor about that. All right. If they have a question about Turtle Beach Campground, we do have a link specifically to some Turtle Beach information. You can click on that. It will take you right there. Again, if you have any questions, please see a supervisor or trainer, and thank you.